Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for the City of Dauphin for September 26th, 2022. We do acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. And we affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda be amended as follows. Just a deletion here this evening. That would be item 9A, the Parkline Crossing Development Agreement. Any questions or comments regarding that? None. We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. And moved by Deputy Mayor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that council accepts the regular council meeting agenda now as amended. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, and that is the regular council meeting from earlier this month, September 12th, 2022. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. We do have 5 proclamations action items today. So one for each member up here, and we will start with the Truth and Reconciliation Week proclamation, and that one will be read by Councillor Eilers. Take it away, Councillor Eilers.
Okay, whereas, whereas the Truth and Reconciliation Commission released its final report on June the 2nd, 2015, which included 94 calls to action to redress the legacy of residential schools and to provide a framework for all levels of government to repair the painful legacy of our colonial history and to move forward with reconciliation. And whereas unmarked graves at residential schools in Manitoba and across the country have raised awareness about the truth of the residential schools and the need to honor survivors and remember the children who did not make it home. And whereas in response to the recommendation number 80 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the federal government in collaboration with Indigenous people has proclaimed September 30th to be a federal statutory holiday and to be recognized as a day for truth and reconciliation. And whereas the City of Dauphin recognizes the public remembrance of the history of residential schools is a vital component of the reconciliation process. And whereas the City of Dauphin and its employees will be observing the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, previously known as the Orange Shirt Day, on September the 30th, 2022, as a statutory holiday to provide time to reflect on the legacy of residential school system and its impact on Indigenous communities, and while be waving its flags at half-mast. Therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim September 26th to the 30th of 2022 as Truth and Reconciliation Week, and September 30th, 2022 as the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, dated the City of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba on this 26th day of September 2022.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. Our second proclamation is Right to Know Week, and this one will be read by Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. Whereas reasonable access to information is fundamental to a democratic society, and whereas Right to Know Day is celebrated around the world every September 28th, to mark the benefits of a transparent, accessible government, and whereas Right to Know Week is recognized in communities across Canada from September 28th to October 4th, and whereas in Manitoba, the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act and the Personal Healthcare Information Act apply to public sector bodies, including the City of Dauphin, and enable persons to obtain access to records subject to specific limited expectations. And whereas it's important to highlight and observe the importance of open and accountable government, now therefore we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim September 28th to October 4th as a Right to Know Week, dated at the City of Dauphin on today's date.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Our third proclamation, International Day of Older Persons, read by Deputy Mayor Stakilo.
Whereas in 1999, the United Nations adopted October 1st as the International Day of Older Persons, and whereas between 1950 and 2010, life expectancy worldwide rose from 46 to 68 years and is projected to reach 81 years by the end of the century. And whereas by 2050, 2 billion people worldwide will be 60 years of age or older. And whereas older persons represent the fastest growing segment of the Canadian population, requiring attention to their specific needs, including income security, housing, healthcare, and elder abuse. And whereas in 2010, Canada recognized these needs by designating October 1st as National Seniors Day. And whereas the City of Dauphin celebrates seniors in our community and the contributions they make to their families and to society, now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim October 1st, 2022 as International Day of Older Persons, dated at the City of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba, this 26th day of September 2022.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Stakilo. The next one is Fire Prevention Week, and I will read this one. Whereas the City of Dauphin is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Dauphin, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the location where people are at greatest risk from fire, and whereas when the smoke alarm sounds, Dauphin residents may have less than 2 minutes to escape to safety, and whereas Dauphin's residents who have planned and practiced a home fire safe escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas Dauphin's residents should make a home escape plan, drawing a map of each level of the home, showing all doors and windows. And whereas Dauphin's residents should practice the home fire escape plan with everyone in the household, including visitors. And whereas Dauphin's residents should practice the home fire escape drill at least twice a year during the day and at night. And whereas Dauphin's residents should teach children to escape on their own in case adults cannot help them. And whereas Dauphin's residents should make sure everyone in the home knows how to call 911 or the local emergency number from a cell phone or a neighbor's phone. And whereas Dauphin's residents should practice using different ways out. Whereas Dauphin's residents in a real emergency should get low and go under the smoke to get out quickly. And whereas Dauphin's residents should get out and stay out, never going back inside the home for people, pets, or things. And whereas Dauphin's residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take action to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas this year marks the 100th anniversary of Fire Prevention Week, and whereas this year's campaign, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, works to educate everyone about the importance of having a fire escape plan. And whereas all the people of Dauphin are urged to be aware of their surroundings, look for available points of escape in the event of a fire or other emergency, respond when the smoke alarm sounds by exiting the building immediately, and support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Dauphin Fire Department during Fire Prevention Week 2022. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim October 9th to the 15th, 2022 as Fire Prevention Week. And I'm sure the Dauphin Fire Department will be out at one of the Kings games in October. They usually sponsor a game there for Fire Prevention Week. Our final proclamation this evening is for Small Business Week and Chamber Days, and that will be read by Councillor Juba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Whereas Small Business Week in Canada is designated as let's try this again. Whereas Small Business Week in Canada is designated as October 16th to October 22nd, 2022. And whereas Small Business Week is an annual celebration of entrepreneurship that the Business Development Bank of Canada has organized for 40 years. And whereas during this week, citizens are encouraged to support small and medium-sized businesses. Whereas during this week, organizations offer events and programming to help further support small and medium-sized businesses. And whereas the City of Dauphin commends the Parkland Chamber of Commerce for their efforts in support of the business community across the Parkland and recognizes that we are indeed stronger together. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do here proclaim October 16th to the 22nd, 2022 as Small Business Week and Chamber Days, dated City of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba, this 26th day, September 2022, and it will be signed by our Mayor, Christian Lawton.
Thank you, Councillor Juba. And as you mentioned, all those proclamations recommended by the Mayor and the City Manager. We'll move now to action item A, number 6. So that's outstanding water accounts that are added to taxes. Be it resolved that the following water accounts be added to taxes. These first 5 are all for the landlord failing to pay the current utility bill for multiple tenant residents. The first one, 430 Railway Avenue for $297.96. The second one is 36 King Street, Unit A, $124.05. The third one, for 511 Railway Avenue for $410.76. The fourth one, 501 Railway Avenue for $322.10. And the fifth one, 425 Whitmore Avenue West, units A through H, $3,007.83. The next 3 are the previous tenant failed to pay the final utility bill. That is 306 Railway Avenue for $74.74. 21 12th Avenue Southwest for $201.44. And the last one there, 319 3rd Avenue Northeast for $603.82. And the last item added to taxes, the current owner did not pay the final utility bill. That was at 241 Brown Avenue East, totaling $7,055.48. All those numbers add up to $12,098.18, and that is recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility Clerk. Moving to B, filing items. Number 1, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities member advisories, the Executive Committee election, as well as restrictions on municipal communications and resources. Also, AMM's news bulletin for September 23rd of this year. Number 2, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, that's FCM. So FCM Connects for September 9th, 13th, and 21st. And FCM Voice for September 12th and September 20th. Number 3, the Government of Manitoba news release from Justice, the use of bear spray in violent crime, and the media bulletin, the Honorable Anita Neville, to be sworn in as Lieutenant Governor. Number 4, Municipal Relations Leadership Team article. Number 5, Mountain View School Division's News Digest for September 12th. And number 6, the Minister of Advanced Education, Skills and Immigration, a letter of thanks there. And all those items as recommended by the Mayor and the City Manager. Any questions or comments? Councillor Bellemare.
Yeah, for that last, water bill where the current owner didn't pay, was that like consecutive ones or just one final one? Because that's quite a large amount.
Yeah, I just sent a text actually to Director of Finance to see what that was about, but chances are it would have been perhaps because of a water leak. That's my guess. I'll let council know.
I do have some information on that one, and there was a water loss incident at that location, and then the bill was sent out. We don't have any details about the nature of the water loss incident, but it wasn't an accumulation of bills over time. There wasn't an incident. And then we didn't hear from the owner since the bill went out.
Councillor Juba?
Actually, Councillor Bellemare.
Okay, Councillor Eilers? No, just turn your mic on. That's okay.
I was concerned about, again, on Whitmore Avenue, the 3,007 and 83. I know there's interest added to it, but considering the interest rates have gone on, so is this something that will be resolved, or what will be the delay and what will be the interest rates?
Oh, certainly. So interest rate, I believe, is 1.25% per month. And it's added to their taxes. So they, it's all one owner, and they usually do pay that off at some point. And in normal circumstances, before adding to, or if we're adding to taxes, we may shut the water off for non-payment as well. But because these are rental units that the landlord pays the taxes, or sorry, pays the water bill, we can't shut the water off. That's part of the residential tenancy branch and the Public Utilities Board order. In terms of going forward, there's really nothing that we can do to encourage people to pay their water bills on time. We just have mechanisms where we charge them interest if they pay late.
Okay, because what I'm concerned about is a lot of times they will not pay because it's better to pay off something else that the interest rate is higher. So all I'm asking is this in accordance with what we do? Do we ever, because I don't recall in the last number of years that it's always stated that percentage, so it doesn't move.
Yeah, I think it's still 15% per year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Juba.
Thank you. When these amounts hit, is there a trigger amount of money that that the city gets really more concerned? Like if a water bill is $400 overdue, there's cause for concern. But then once it starts hitting up into the $1,000 or more mark, is there some kind of a say, hey, what's going on here moment in the billing department?
Yeah, certainly. So a lot of things, what we look at is, I guess, say, for example, for the one on Whitmore, the $3,000, that's our usual water bill in a quarter. So it's, and then the other ones are also probably usual water bills in a quarter. It depends if there's, a single family unit or four or all those kinds of units. Any time that it is significantly higher, chances are we're going to hear from the customer, and we may help them find a way to fix them or help them troubleshoot the issue. But yeah, there's nothing that specifically says if it's over $500 in a month, we call them and see what's going on. No, we don't do that.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the meeting tonight of the City Manager. Take it away, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a couple of weeks since our last meeting, and I've had quite a few meetings in the last week, but 2 weeks, but they can loosely be summarized into 3 categories, and those are the things that I explain here for updates. So first off, a development agreement with Parkline Crossings Affordable Housing Project. So unfortunately, that was something that we did have to remove from Council's agenda tonight because the group was not able to get their site plan in on time. They were working with a consultant and a draft person to do that today. So we anticipate that at our next council meeting, we'll have the site plan and the agreement all ready for Council to approve. Council can look at the agreement between now and then. I know it's about a 25+ page document. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. Just as a reminder, this project started approximately in 2019, and they are the recipient of some Manitoba Housing Grant funding that was distributed through the city, and they have until March 31st, 2023 to finish that project, so they want to get started right away. Next, large category that took a lot of my time was Dauphin Airport. So at the airport, there's parcels of land that's leased to tenants. The tenants own the buildings or structures that they occupy, and the airport authority owns the land. And the tenants pay the tenants lease the land from the airport authority. So each tenant has a lease agreement regarding the operations of the property, including the way that the taxes are paid. So currently there's about 20 leases in place, including billboards near Highway 10, an agricultural lease for farmland, Environment and Climate Change Canada weather station, fenced spaces for outdoor storage, small buildings on lots, and hangars on lots for the storage of planes and other purposes. Hangars converted to manufacturing operations, as well as Rocky Mountain Mutual Aid fire site. So in the last 2 weeks, I did meet with 2 different leaseholders regarding buildings at the airport, their current operations, and some future aspirations for use of the buildings. So that was quite interesting. And then over the last 2 weeks, I've been working on annual reviews for senior and middle managers that report to me. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Councillor Juba.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the city manager if she has an exact dollar amount that was allocated to Parkline Crossing for their housing project through Manitoba Housing.
Yeah, certainly. So off the top of my head, I believe it was about just over $400,000. And that is for the building of the first 4 units, with an understanding that another 4 units will be built in the near future.
Yeah, well, that's a rough figure, but the exact figure.
I can find that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for this evening's regular Council meeting, that of the Deputy City Manager. Any questions or comments on that report? Councillor Bellemare.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I appreciated the information we received about how the whole pound services work. So there was a description of all of that, so I appreciated that. Was there anything that sort of spurred this, or was it just sort of time to review this, or just wondering if there's any changes from what's been happening previously?
Well, it was certainly a welcome meeting for me, since I'm fairly new to this animal control portfolio, and I really wanted to be sure that there was transparency in the process between City Hall and the pound, because sometimes we're not clear exactly what's going on over at the pound since we're not in that facility. And also the practice service manager indicated that they're down to 2 veterinarians at the pound at the vet services clinic. So they're fairly limited in the number of animals they're able to take in. So they wanted to be sure that we're streamlining the processes and everyone's clear on this end, what is required, and that at the pound they're not accepting payment, that residents would come here to City Hall to pay the capture fee and the license fee and the boarding fee here, and then they go to the pound at a designated pickup time to get the vaccination and pick up the animal.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for tonight's regular Council meeting, this one of the ICT manager. Any questions or comments there? Yeah, Councillor Bellemare.
Okay, I first of all noticed that we had way more EV charging than we've had previously. And the information we received showed where people started at the beginning of the charge and where they ended. And I noticed that some people went up to the charger when they were at 2%, 4%, and 6%. And I'm going, okay, this is like us with our cell phones, right? You either hit the charger when you're at 30 or you hit it at 2. So I just thought it was kind of cute what information was there. So great to see that the charger is being used.
Yeah, for sure. Not many hitting 100 either. Only a handful on there. Any other questions or comments?
I'll actually make a comment just to that comment. So most electric vehicles actually have a buffer, so you do not charge to 100%, but they can increase that if they are in a situation and literally it's just on their phone. They can make those kind of changes or request from the manufacturer, who can then make the changes to allow them to charge up certain things. So very interactive.
Councillor Juba.
I just want to make a comment on the effectiveness of the security camera at the CN Park. That camera has excellent resolution. You can see the resolution is very clear. And on the weekend, I had already received a phone call from a concerned citizen about someone in the park, and that they thought that person was in distress. So I took appropriate action as a concerned citizen, as a counselor. I phoned 911, and the emergency response team did go and check on that person. So I just want to compliment the efforts of the IC tech and all the people that were responsible for making sure that that high resolution camera is in place, and just want to reassure the citizens of the community that people in the community are watching that site, and if there's any occurrences in the park, they will be reported accordingly. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals ranging from 30303 going to 30345. That's 43 checks totaling $580,412.11. No voided checks in the current range, and no voided checks in past ranges, and there were no electronic payments either. Questions or comments there? None. I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before PSAB adjustments for the period ending July 31st, 2022. That does include, number one, the general fund balance sheet and general fund income statement, along with number two, the utility fund balance sheet and utility fund income statement. Questions or comments there? Call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved the council accepts as information the reserve report for July of this year. Any questions regarding that? Call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the budget variance analysis for July of this year. Go ahead, Councillor Bellemare, with the question.
It's more a comment. Certainly, when you look at that, you can see the impact that the higher fuel costs are having on the budget, and also inflation costs are having on, inflation rather is having on the water chemicals that we use at the water treatment plant and the parts that we're using for repairs there. So, I mean, some of those categories are pretty high, and I mean, we didn't anticipate that when we set that budget.
Any other questions or comments? I've seen none. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following engineering report for this evening's regular council meeting for Director of Public Works and Operations. Questions, comments regarding this report? Councillor Bellemare?
Yes, in the report it mentioned about how some of the lead pipes are being replaced at some of the residences. So can you just sort of give us an idea of how many, like what's the demand like? Is it spilling over into next year? What's the response been?
I don't have an exact number right now. I know we're over a dozen replaced already, and there's at least 6 on the schedule as part of the 4th Avenue reconstruction work. I'd have to check with Jeff where our workload's at with what's coming up though.
Okay, that's close enough. That just gives me a ballpark idea. So yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
There's been very good buy-in, and yeah, it's definitely spurred an increase in our workload. So
yep. That's good to hear. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Eilers.
So you don't have a, like you said, there was a good buy-in. How many, I guess you wouldn't know how many did not participate in the program?
I don't know exactly. I mean, on that block specifically, right. I don't know off the top of my head how many did or did not. We know that there was 13 of the 18 properties that had lead services, and I believe over half have committed to changing it. So I don't know which or how many haven't.
Okay, because that was one of the problems with the last, we didn't have a very much engagement by the the different residents. So it's good to see that at least over half is, but it would be nice to see a higher number is what I'm saying. So maybe there is, but that was something that was very discerning at the last time when we were doing the upgrades.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. Any other comments, questions? We'll call those all in favor. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts this information, the minutes from the following committee. That is the Communities in Bloom Committee, their regular committee meeting back on August 11th. Questions or comments regarding those minutes? Call those all in favor. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare, whereas the province of Manitoba is offering financial support through the Disaster Financial Assistance Program for municipalities sustaining damage to infrastructure due to the 2022 spring flooding. And whereas at their regular council meeting of June 27th, 2022, council passed resolution 2022-362 in support of the City of Dawson's request for disaster financial assistance for repair costs incurred resulting from flooding damage at Vermilion Park. So be it resolved that council accepts this information, a quotation received from Inspection Plus in the amount of $52,000 plus GST for the repair of the Vermilion Park trails, and a memorandum dated September 23rd, 2022 from the Deputy City Manager recommending that the city's municipal share of this amount, estimated to be $40,943 plus applicable taxes, be approved. And further be it resolved that council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves the repair of the Vermilion Park trails by Inspection Plus with the city's estimated share of $40,943 plus applicable taxes to be drawn from the Recreation Reserve. Any questions or comments? Councillor Eilers.
Just wanted to say that a different conservation district, we had meetings and stuff, and we're just going to have to find ways to mediate the flood issues that we have, because right now they will be approving, but we got direction that in future they will not be if we haven't done anything proactive to mitigate the flood issues. So I think this is important to work with the watershed. They're looking at holding ponds and other diversion so that we don't have this happening. It's kind of discerning for our residents, especially if you get the flooding and they can't go to the splash park and a lot of other. I personally missed the walking track for months here, and I think it was really important to have it. So I just hope there's more done in this efforts to make sure that we mitigate these things that are happening in our community.
Deputy Mayor Stakilo.
Thank you. Just now with the passing of this resolution, I'm just kind of wondering timelines. I know there's been concerns and questions about the condition, and I know that the rationale why it was left was for this purpose, for it to be estimated and repaired. But is there any clarity on timelines when work will begin?
I'm not sure. We'll have to check with Dauphin Rec Services. I believe they want to start immediately as soon as funding's approved. So that's all I'm aware of, though.
Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Mr. During the summer, I have had 2 or 3 different people approach me about the management of the Dead River, like the Dead River Reservoir. There's a reservoir in between from when the water flows in. Then there's a holding tank, and then it's pumped into the Dead River and stuff like that. And I've had people say that there's too much water going in there, and then there's a couple times when the pump apparently was left running and it was being forced in, water being forced into the Dead River. My question would be: is that a real issue, or is that something that, or is that part of Councillor Eilers mentioning the proactivity of managing some of the flooding that goes on in the park, or would that be, or is that 2 separate issues altogether?
That's two separate issues.
And we did bring that concern to the attention of the operations manager for Dauphin Rec Services, so we trust that he would be looking into that.
Yeah, he actually did, because the person that's always on me about it said that it was done, and I said, well, okay, I'm just the middle guy here, so I'm not casting aspersions on anybody's. I'm just asking because I want the public to know that anytime a concern is brought forward to the appropriate people, that every time I bring something forward to the proper people, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councillor Juba.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas the province of Manitoba's mitigation and preparedness program offers financial assistance to municipalities in support of projects that promote disaster preparedness. And whereas the MPP municipalities receive 100% of eligible disaster financial assistance costs back from Manitoba and are required to invest the amount that would have been the deductible into an approved disaster mitigation and preparedness project. So be it resolved that Council accepts this information. A memorandum dated September 23rd, 2022 from the Deputy City Manager, noting that the City of Dauphin proposes to utilize MPP funding to commission a flood study and implement recommendations from the study that would promote preparedness in Vermilion Park in the event of any future flooding. Further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and supports the utilization of MPP funding to commission a flood study and implement recommendations that would provide disaster mitigation and preparedness in Vermilion Park. Questions or comments? Councillor Eilers.
There was 5,000 offered by the watershed, and it was held for I believe 4 years, and it was never taken advantage of, and so it was put into general and returned because they were holding it for the Dauphin, and then there was a study, so it kind of is something that I think should have been done a while back, and it was not. There didn't seem to be interest because they thought it would cost more, but sometimes the 5,000 or whatever that we have really helps. It's just to identify the situation, and it was offered, and it wasn't taken advantage of. So that's unfortunate. It was before your time, Mike, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah, that's what I think that there was also a high-level study, or sorry, high-level solution done regarding a large berm throughout Vermilion Park. So we did provide that to Dauphin Rec Services and that was from the Watershed or Conservation District at the time. And so we do have that report, and we provided it to DRS so that they can provide that to a consultant so that, perhaps some of that work can be used, or some of that design can be used in the concept of it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments there? We'll call those. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Whereas on August 8th, 2022, the Government of Manitoba announced the awarding of federal and provincial funding for the City of Dawson's lagoon expansion and upgrade project through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the contribution agreement between the Government of Manitoba and the City of Dauphin effective April 21st, 2022, which outlines the terms and milestones the city must fulfill to qualify for the grant, and a memorandum dated September 23rd, 2022 from the City Manager, noting the costs and contributions to be as follows and recommending that the agreement be approved. Total project costs will be $13,245,700. Eligible project costs are $12,458,000, and the contribution portions from the federal government, $4,983,200, from the provincial government, $4,152,251.40, and municipal government, $3,322,548.60, plus ineligible costs of $787,700, totaling $4,110,248.60, estimated, of course, at the time of the grant application back in 2018 and subject to revision. So further be it resolved that council agrees with the city manager's recommendation and authorizes the contribution agreement between the Government of Canada and the City of Dauphin to be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Questions or comments? Councillor Bellemare.
Man, lagoons are expensive, over $4 million, and that's just our share. So 45-page contract here that the feds designed. Is there anything unusual about this contract from other contracts we've signed with them, or is it pretty standard in your view?
It looks relatively standard. Staff went through those contracts and have little tick marks and stickies and whatnot of all the things that we need to do and the milestones that we need to meet, dates and whatnot, but we didn't see anything that was unusual. I will say that there was one of those things where you read it and go, So we note that these are the costs back from 2018 or maybe even a little bit sooner. The contract does explicitly state that if the project is over the total estimated, totally eligible estimated project cost of $12.458 million, that it is the municipality's responsibility for all of those overages. But if the eligible costs are less than $12.458 million, the province and the federal government pay proportionately less. They realize the cost savings, but they don't partake in any of the overages.
Councillor Juba.
Just more of a comment than anything else. I want to congratulate the city manager and all the all her staff. This has been a long time coming, and there's been many negotiation attempts to get this project underway, and we've had several opportunities over the years to make this grant application, and with your persistence and resilience of your staff, I just want to say congratulations, well done. This will enhance our community and on a going forward basis. So Charlotte, city manager, congratulations.
I do thank you. It has been the third application in over 12 or 14 years. I think that it was that we first applied for this, so it's great that we have it, and I think it's the Department of Public Works and Operations that gets all the applause for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers.
Yeah, it took a lot of meetings to get this going. Every AMM we went, we had meetings with the minister, and sometimes I think we went against a stone wall or brick wall or just a wall that hurts. Every time we came back, it was disappointing. So it's good to see this. My take on this is they sure safeguard if we go over this, and they know darn well that it probably will with the cost of everything here. So it's interesting that they would put that in place. So again, we have to make sure we source money and borrow. Now, on saying that, had they agreed for this 5 years ago, this would have probably been at least $2 million less, if not more, or 2.5. I think we worked it out. So
yeah, or at least it would have been on schedule and it wouldn't be over.
Yeah,
we're bracing ourselves for what our current estimate will be, and then we'll have to borrow accordingly.
Yeah, that's
and find cost savings, and we are looking at an alternate mechanism, if I can say it that way, to treat the effluent, just so that we are trying our best to stay within these cost parameters.
So I guess my concern here is that because of all this delay, now everything is just so much more expensive. And so I was doing the math from what we had before, and I'm looking at 2 to 2.5 million difference from when we first started this. So that's a lot of money. And if we have to cover off this, it looks like it might be covering, even if it's less at 0.5 of a million, that's a real cost to our taxpayers. So that's kind of defeating.
And we were totally at the mercy of the provincial and
That's
federal
right.
governments because we couldn't do a $13.5 million project on our own.
Yeah. Anyway, it's on our way. We'll see how it plays out.
Anything else? Sad it took so long, but good to see it's going. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the community event listed below. That, of course, is West Region Treaty 2 and 4 Health Services Truth and Reconciliation Orange Shirt Day, happening this Friday, September 30th, at, I believe, CN Park. So, yes, looking forward to that. Okay, let's move to Councillor privileges, and we'll start. I'm left-handed, so we'll start to my left this time. Deputy Mayor Stakilo, take her away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, September 12th, regular council meeting, and then on September 20th, we had an economic development meeting. Just a couple notes from that meeting. Recently, we've kind of restructured and relooked at the economic development committee, and we've kind of looked at, trimming down the amount of members that are on that committee and focusing more on sort of subcommittee appointments going forward. And it's at our last meeting, it was nice to see that that's moving ahead nicely, and we've kind of chosen two streams to look at right now, and that being an accommodation tax committee and a sports tourism committee, and picking some names for those committees for some interested individuals in within the city and region. So it's nice to see that's going forward. Also, too, we had an update on the Place brand project, and we were able to see a sneak peek of a video, very well done, featuring local actors and local citizens within the video. So there's a longer video to come, and I'm sure if it's anything like the 30-second snippet that we saw, it'll be great and just a nice way to showcase our community and our region for sure. And I just want to say congratulations to everybody that was involved with Yard Fringe and Culture Days. Unfortunately, I was out of the province over the weekend, so I wasn't able to attend Yard Fringe, and I was very disappointed. But of course, following the event and during the event, social media was flooded with pictures and updates and kudos about the day, and I just wanted to say thank you since that group was here last council meeting. And with that ends my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Stakilo. Councillor Eilers.
Thank you. September 12th, regular city council meeting. September 15th, the Dauphin Friendship Agency luncheon. The Dauphin Rotary Club had a info session and asking all of who were participating what is missing from Dauphin and what would enhance the livability of our community. And there was examples of homelessness, emergency housing, low-income housing, to name a few. There'll be a further update given at the next meeting. September 16th, vet board meeting, and the 19th planning and priority meeting. On September the 22nd, we had a longer one. We had a CIB planning and review meeting of all the projects. On September 23rd, I volunteered at the Smile campaign at Tim Hortons. A lot of cookies went out. And I think they were, I have to find out, but I think they placed fourth across Canada Dauphin. So I'm not sure. I was going to follow up, and I didn't get through with the phone call today. September 23rd was as well. I went over to the grand opening of the dollar store. It seemed that parking lot was full. And September 24th, I attended some of the Dauphin Culture Days. The Fret Shredders was amazing. And one of the things I had a talk with Gary, who was the main, I really would like to see this videotaping. There were so many great things, and I mean, some I just passed by and was quite crowded, but I think this, when we do promotion of our community, this is a really great avenue. And I was thinking that this would be something I would like to see in viewing in long winters, and I think it's a great promotion. So I talked to him, and he says, yeah, he thought that was a great idea, and I think this is something that we should probably promote. So that's a suggestion to the group. And on the 25th, I volunteered at the Fort Dauphin Museum. Just for interest sake, there was a U.S. tour, and it was all RVs that came to our community. There's 42 participants. And they stopped in Dauphin on their way to Churchill, and they had a treat. They had homemade bread that was done in the peach. There was homemade tea biscuits, and we had jams and jellies, and they also had homemade ice cream. So it was they were thanking everybody, like. And they were so excited about all that. And I understand they were going for a supper, a Ukrainian supper yet. So I don't know how much they would have eaten after what they had at that. And I commend Teresa and all the staff at the Fort Dauphin Museum for all their work that they did for this event. It was very well orchestrated. On September 25th, I also attended the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal Fundraising Supper. There was 50-50, guess the weight of the pumpkin contest, and a silent auction. It was a wonderful supper, especially dessert. Of course, my favorite, pumpkin pie. And a reminder that the fall cleanup is starting on October 11th. The city crews will be only collecting accumulated garden waste, grass, leaves, and shrubs, and trees and branches that are 6 inches in diameter and up to 8 feet. And I've already seen that somebody had a little longer than that. So it's hard for the guys to pick that up. And so be considerate for staffing time. And condolences to Marilyn Podotsky's family and friends on her passing. She worked for a number of years as a nurse in our community, and she had a very quiet dignity about her. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. September 12th, attended regular city council meeting here at City Hall. September 13th, we had another special meeting at the Dauphin District Handy Van office. On September 20th, I attended the strategic planning and priority meeting here at City Hall. That's all of my committee reports, but I have some events that I attended in the community to share. On September the 12th, right after the previous council meeting, the local Keystone Chorus had a final wind-up get together. I spent 30 years with the Keystone Chorus, and there are some members of that group spent a little bit longer than that with the group. So it was a nice evening, but it was sort of a bittersweet evening. But the Barbershoppers may make a surprise appearance later this Christmas season. Just sort of if George Harrison can have a retro show, the Keystone Chorus can. So look out for us through Christmas, but we may be back. September 14th, I attended the kickoff Your Boots Western Canadian Tour with Desiree Dorian, Emma Peterson, and Dustin Blair at the Watson Arts Center. It was a wonderful evening event, and it's on September the 15th. I was at the Third Thursday Music at the Parkline Regional Library. On the 15th, I also was at the agency luncheon. I gave an update. I thank the Rotary Club, first of all, for hosting the event. I also thank the Rotary Club for being part of the Habitat for Humanity build. I thank the Friendship Center for their participation in the Parkline Ukrainian Family Fund and Support Team. And there's a Shiraz dance member here, so I apologize to Shiraz that I forgot to mention Shiraz, but Shiraz played an instrumental role in what happened at the Friendship Center to help Parkland Ukrainian Family Fund and Support Team. So past thanks, my apologies. September the 17th, I attended the Alumni Sports Day at the DRCSS. I watched the Clippers play. It was the first game I've been in a long time. When I lived on Boston's Avenue, I used to go there all the time, and but I forgot that the game was on, and I drove down the street and I seen all these vehicles there. So, and they're true to fact. These young football players played with extreme intensity, and the hamburgers are great. So if you get a chance, go watch the Clippers. Great football and good food. On the 18th, I was at the Action Living Center just down the street here for their pancake breakfast. Just sort of getting around and talking to different people, and it's really great. On September the 20th, I actually went to the Dauphin Friendship Center and took a tour of the center. Jeremy Smith and Susie Secord hosted this tour. I just want to thank them for taking time out of their busy day to explain all the programs, which I found very interesting. Earlier this spring, due to my mobility and health issues, I was not able to attend with the rest of the city council. So when Susie invited us a general invitation at the agency luncheon, I took her up on it, and there are a lot of amazing things that go on at the Dauphin Friendship Center. So if you have a chance, take it. If you're interested in what's going on over there, they offer a lot of programs and help a lot of people in our community, as everybody well knows. On September the 21st, I volunteered actually from Wednesday to Saturday at the Dauphin Tim Hortons for the Cookie Smile Day. 100% of those proceeds goes to the charity of, and in our community, it's Mama Way Park and the Co-op Family Toboggan Run. I lost count of how many cookies I decorated, but it doesn't matter how many I decorated. It was how many cookies that were purchased, and I want to. I'm sure Councilor Bellemare will expound a bit more on that. But thank you to the community for making this event a huge success in our community. On September the 21st, after that, I went to a Habitat for Humanity board meeting, and it was very interesting because I took some cookies for the group. Okay. On September the 22nd, it was kind of a real busy evening. I attended the Citizens on Patrol meeting at the Under One Roof facility, hopefully to get that program way soon in our community. And right after that, as I mentioned, I had to go to a special meeting at the Handy Van office. On September the 24th, again, back at the Watson Arts Center for the George Harrison show. It was fantastic. And the reason why I mentioned the Watson Arts Center and the third Thursday, for 2 years we hadn't been able to attend any events at either one of these facilities. And in the past, I volunteered at a lot of things at the Watson Arts Center, especially. But being a patron is a great experience as well. So when you walk into the facility, you see what the new executive and the new management at the Watson Arts Center have accomplished. They have accomplished a lot, and it's really refreshing to walk into that facility and be a patron. So, anyways, it was a great show. Then on September 25th, I also attended the Fall Supper hosted by Temptations. It was wonderful and well attended. Just want to offer my personal condolences to Lisa Cadet and her family on the loss of her brother. It was a very difficult time. Lisa had just visited this spring, so it was hard for her to get back home again. And I know that it was during a very busy season with everything going on. It was a very traumatic time. So we all feel for you, Lisa. So just a brief Habitat for Humanity report. There's been some significant challenges, and we've overcome them. We've had we've made a change in leadership on the work site on a go forward basis. Darren Eddy and I are now the project managers for the build. And this past week, we have had a crew from Habitat for Humanity to assist us in some corrections that need to be made. Those corrections are made, and this week the outside walls are going to be raised, and once the building inspector inspects the plumbing, we can start preparing the basement for the basement work that needs to be done. So a lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed, but I just want to reassure the community that we are back on track, and that house will meet or exceed quality control issues that we were facing. The Parkline Ukrainian Family Fund, I just want to mention that tomorrow, the 27th, the 17th Ukrainian family will be arriving here in Dauphin. And I too want to thank all the people at the Watson Arts Center for all their hard work, not only for the Yard Fringe that was held this past weekend, but all the other cultural day events that come up in the next week or so. So sorry for the long report, but that's just my style. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Juba. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. Just a couple of community events I want to mention. We already talked about Treaty 2 and 4 having a gathering at CN Park on Friday from 10 till 2. And I believe at Parkland Crossing, they're also going to have an event there that's beginning at 11 from what I've heard. So please consider attending for the learning, the community building, and the reflecting on what this special day means for so many in our community. And also on Wednesday night at the WAC, there is a debate for the people who have put their names forward for the positions of mayor and councillor. So people may want to attend that as well. Today was a special day for me. I attended a citizenship ceremony for one of our Syrian refugee families. In order to qualify to become a Canadian citizen, they had to pass a certain level of English proficiency. They had to pass a knowledge test. And let me tell you some of the stuff I didn't know, having taught social studies for many years. And they had to have lived in Canada a minimum of 3 years. And this family has been in Dauphin for 7 years. And the citizenship ceremony was all online, and they're now Canadian citizens. It was pretty cool. They had to cut up their permanent residency card on the screen. So they actually had to have scissors and cut it up and show the pieces. So that's what they'd been using for ID for all of this time. So I can't imagine how traumatic that was. And then their next cards will be coming in about a month. This family had planned to live in their home country forever, but war broke out, and that has a way of changing people's lives. And further to Rodney's Councillor Juba's comments about the Ukrainian Family Fund. Our family loves Dauphin, and their children love their schools in our community. And the last week, yes, has been the Tim Hortons Smile campaign, and community support has been fantastic. So this morning, the message I got is that we were $1,600 short of $50,000. So big thank you to Tim's for supplying all that cookie dough and all that staff time to make those cookies. And thank you to all the volunteers who got the word out, and all the people who ordered cookies, and to Councillor Juba, who kept texting and saying, I'll take another shift to decorate. He was awesome. And all the businesses who matched the cookie sales each day. So it was, a special thank you to Stacy Penner. She's a key organizer of this project, and she connected this project with Tim's to get this process going and making it so successful. So, I'm in awe of the amazing people that live in our community, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. For myself, the regular council meeting on September 12th. September 15th, I attended the Dauphin Kings home opener, where they raised their banner and celebrated and got the season going for this year. Earlier that day, I attended the agency lunch at the Dauphin Friendship Center. Just want to say thank you to the Friendship Center for hosting. Just a quick note, they are looking for a cook for their Food for Thought program. Obviously a great significant program in our community that helps give kids lunch throughout the school year. On September 20th, the Strategic Planning and Priorities meeting here at City Hall. Earlier that day, Economic Development Committee meeting, as Deputy Mayor Stakilo mentioned, here at City Hall. And on September 22nd, I had the Active Transportation Committee meeting at City Hall, along with Communities in Bloom meeting later in the day. Just a couple things I want to mention. Looking forward to the conclusion of this meeting, as I have a 4-hour drive ahead of me. I'm going to the City Caucus meeting, which is taking place tomorrow in Morden. So looking forward to that there. Smile Cookies has been talked about a lot here. I won't go too much into details. I do want to say, though, kudos to all the small businesses that match the sales. And great to hear that Dauphin did another fantastic job in raising money for, obviously, a great piece of our community coming up here in the next few years. And lastly, congratulations to all the organizers for Culture Days. I did want to go to Yard Fringe and Yard Fest, couldn't, had a sick kid. That's the problem when you have a toddler. They like to bring home all sorts of viruses and spread them around. So that's fun. I didn't want to do that to the public. But Culture Days does continue in Dauphin. I wanted to mention Picha Kucha coming up on October 13th at the Dauphin Public Library. So looking forward to that, hopefully. But with that being said, moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that this council meeting be recessed at 6:05.